you from the Riverside Golf and Country Club, Rothsay, New Brunswick. You're watching the final, the championship game of the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts, and it's poised to be a great matchup today. The defending champion, 7-time champion overall, Andrea Crawford from the Gage Golf and Curling Club in Oromocto, taking on the 2018 champion, a 3-time champion in her own right, Sylvie Quillian from Curl Moncton. I'm Sean Thompson. I'm joined with Kevin Kyle, and couldn't ask for a better set of teams in the final. The last two champions going at it for a spot in the National Scotties in Moose Jaw.
Certainly, Sean. These two teams proved themselves to be the best in the field, and should be a very exciting match here today. A real dogfight right to the end.
Kendra Lister throwing the first rock for Team Quillian. Sylvie Quillian just looking to bring the rock into the rings. First end tends to be the feeling out process. And Andrea Crawford will just ask Katie Forward to remove it.
Yeah, so just shaping up to be one of those ho-hum ends. Both teams just feeling out the ice here. Both teams did have a 10-minute practice before the game, so they're comfortable with the ice, and both teams are very comfortable with the rocks. The teams did have the option to choose rocks from other sheets. Team Quillian elected to play with the rocks from sheet 4. Team Crawford has taken some rocks from sheet 3. So, all you Riverside curlers out there, you might want to come down and get some scouting reports from these teams on the rocks.
And Team Quillian were on sheet 3 last night in the semifinal after coming through round robin with a 3-2 record. Team Quillian knocked off Justine Como's rink from the Capital Winter Club in Fredericton in a dramatic 8-7 finish.
Yeah, and I expect the same kind of big finish here today, Sean. A real clash of the Titans here.
Gate forward once again. Andrea Crawford didn't have to play last night. She got to the final by virtue of an undefeated round robin, 5-0, including in draw 5 yesterday morning a 7-4 win over the same Quillian team. What can you tell me about that game, Kevin?
Again, another just a great game, real battle. Both teams, it was real nail biter right to the end. So can't afford to make any mistakes. These teams will, both teams able to capitalize on opposition mistakes. So got to keep those to a minimum.
Team Crawford putting up their corner guard, and it looks like Nicole Bishop being asked to put another one in the house just opposite the corner guard.
Yeah, trying to protect against the Crawford team using that corner guard. So the Quillian team got the hit and roll out, which allowed Andrea to throw up that corner guard.
Team Crawford does have the hammer in this first end by virtue of their perfect round-robin record. As Jill Babin steps into the hack.
I'm just trying to hit and roll behind that corner.
Yeah, the rock's plenty high. Gate forward, Jennifer Armstrong ready to sweep as needed, and Jennifer Armstrong giving the hard sweep straight away.
And as long as even if they get a short roll, to get in the rock closer to that corner guard and hopefully be easier on a future shot.
And it is the short roll. Brings Nicole Bishop back up again. Again, I mentioned Team Quillian 3-2 in the round robin. Their 2 losses were to Crawford and to Justine Como. Of course, they avenged that loss to Como in yesterday's semifinal. Hit and roll over to the center line. Things, I think, developing nicely for Andrea Crawford as she tries to get something behind that corner.
Yeah, so a little shorter roll now, so easier opportunity to get behind that corner.
Bill Babin looking for the hit. Hard sweep from Jennifer Armstrong again, trying to keep the line. It's going across the center line. They'll get the hit, and about a foot of roll.
So getting a little closer to the corner. So Silva will be looking to roll the other way. Keep that corner out of play.
Melissa Adams first stone. Before Melissa joined Team Quillian, she skipped the 2017 New Brunswick Scotties champions. Rock hanging out, just a cursory brush. And a straight nose hit. Bringing Jennifer Armstrong up for Team Crawford. Armstrong, a veteran on this ice. Grew up in Rothsay and curled her junior career out of this Riverside Country Club. Sweepers trying to coax it over. No such luck. Rolls toward the center.
Jennifer's parents, Mark and Karen, longtime curlers and golfers here, and they're watching the game from Florida, watching our telecast. So I'd like to give a shout out to them.
Those hit just rolled, didn't get into the house, so Melissa Adams trying to come around that newly minted center guard with her second.
Yep, so Crawford team unable to make use of that corner yet, and now there's a, like you said, a near center guard for Team Quillian to come around. And
hard sweep from Bishop and Lister. Trying to bury it. Not a bad job, but it does roll behind T. Quillian sitting one as Jenna Armstrong prepares to throw her second. Looks like a quiet weight hit here, Kevin.
yeah, just soft weight here. Get to the inside of that shot stone. Maybe get a little inside roll. It will curl
now.
here.
Babin and forward.
And it's already all over the guard.
Plan B, try to get the angle for the raise. Not quite. I'll raise it straight out of play. And now that Quillian Rock is fully buried, Sylvie looking at her first to put something behind that center guard again. Something ahead of T.
Yeah, that last stone by Jen Armstrong looks like might have picked something there. Saw her cleaning the spot on the ice just after that shot was made.
Sylvie Quillian, 2018 champion. Won 2 times prior as a skip. 4-time champion overall. Fell at the semifinal stage in last year's event, the Sarah Malay's rink. Bishop and Lister off and on. You see it turn sharply now. They're going to be right on the guard.
Yeah, so just a little light, and you can see with that real lightweight, a lot of curl.
A lot of curl, but I don't think the shot was necessarily light. You see where they moved the Crawford rock up to? That's about where they wanted to end up, depth-wise in the house.
Yeah, so Andrea's looking at the out turn here, or in turn.
Keeping her options open.
Yeah, there's more curl here on the in turn side. I think the shot is still there on the out turn, but a little trickier, where it's a little straighter.
And at least here, if you're just a little inside, get a little over curl, you may be able to open things up. Force Sylvie to play a guard. Andrea Crawford, when she's been in New Brunswick, she has been a dominant force in the women's curling scene in this province. Her first stone of the game, and a hard sweep straight away from from Babin and forward. Hauled off.
So it's close, Sean.
Very close, trying to coax the curl, and they get just split off their own. Still, Quillian sitting one a little more open, but Sylvie looking at the hit and roll.
Yeah, now Andrea does have that raise on her own rock on the 8 foot. So Andrea will have a couple of options on her last shot. And that's really all you want as a skip for your last shot. You want to make sure it's nice to have a couple of options.
As is typical, we've seen in these championships a quick first end. The 10 end games allow 38 minutes of thinking time, and that clock stops just as the rock crosses the tee line.
Yeah, both these skips are very decisive. You don't waste a lot of time. So I don't expect any team here to get in any type of time trouble.
Are going to get the hit and a little roll. The stone is in the open.
So
Looks like the doubles there.
Yeah, the double in the stick for the 2, and that's what the broom goes down. So just hair off nose.
Hair off nose to the outside. Andrea Crawford cleaning her rock. Front end stands ready. Jen Armstrong holding the broom for the final rock in the first end. Double takeout for 2. Sweep from Babin. They need the outside. Sweeper's called off. Now it's forward on it. Forward. They get the hit, but they stuff it. And it is a steal of 1 in the first end for Sylvie Quillian. The 2018 champions draw first blood in this New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts final. They lead 1-0 after 1 end. And you are watching the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts on 360 Live, powered by Bellline TV1. Our broadcast this afternoon is brought to you by the New Brunswick Curling Association and its partners. Kruger Products, the makers of Scotties facial tissues. Papa John's Pizza. Sims Home Hardware. And the province of New Brunswick. Sean Thompson alongside Kevin Kyle with you at the Riverside Golf and Country Club. Founded in 1897 here on the banks of the Kennebecasis River in Rothsay. So many championships, provincial and national, have gone through this club.
Yeah, Sean, there's a great history of curling here. You can see a lot of banners on the walls here at all levels.
Hosted, I believe, the the National Mixed Championships in the 60s after they built a new ice shed here at the rink.
And Riverside will be hosting the National Masters Championship here in March.
To say nothing of the myriad golf tournaments, only Atlantic Canadian site of the Canadian Open Pro Golf Championship. This is a hit here from Katie Forward. Dean Crawford retaining the hammer in N2.
I'm just going to get the roll over to the wide side.
Good shot. Sylvie content to ask Kendra Lister to get rid of it. Kendra Lister in the hack. We'll get a look at her in a moment from the Capital Winter Club in Fredericton. 26 years a curler. She's a senior internal auditor with the Department of Social Development here in New Brunswick. 2015 provincial mixed champion, in addition to her women's resume.
Kendra had a large group of fans from the Harvey Curling Club here to support her over the weekend. She'd like to give a thanks to all those folks.
Yep, and her two children, ages 5 and 3. Katie Forward coming out now, 16 years a curler from Curl Moncton, nursing student in Moncton, final year of the Bachelor in Nursing program. 2019 provincial mixed champion, in addition to a couple of junior championships, and an Atlantic championship in the under-18 division. That back in 2018. And a good corner guard there.
And now with the 4-foot area wide open, Andrew Kelly went with the corner guard to try and generate her deuce.
Nicole Bishop in the hack now for Team Quillian. She's curled 28 years out of Curl Moncton. She's the executive director and registrar of the New Brunswick Association of Dietitians. Been part of this Quillian team for a while. Second on a rink that twice represented New Brunswick at the Junior Championships at the turn of the millennium. We'll come back into the house.
So Andrea Crawford try to get the roll behind that corner.
All you need.
So we saw in that first end the same type of situation. They didn't manage to get under the corner, but...
and this one is curling straight away. Forward really working to keep it on line to hit something. They will. Just nudge the one at the back too. Wow, that curled a lot.
Yeah, I think she was a little narrow there. And that is close to that center line. We will see a lot of curl.
They always bring in the provincial ice maker, sand the stones, try to increase the level of difficulty at these provincial championships.
So that hit and roll out gives Sylvie the opportunity to peel the guard, and so and you're going to try and manufacture the deuce with a freeze on that back stone.
Calling upon Jillian Babin in the hack now.
So Team Robichaux looking to...
Jill Babin, 25 years a curler from the Capital Club in Fredericton, a chiropractor.
And so Team Quillian looking to maybe generate a blank here. Force Crawford in the odd end and come back with a hammer and 4.
Coming in a little strong. Sylvie coming out just to sweep it out. Opportunity for Sylvie Quillian here.
Yeah,
Looking to split the rings.
couple of back-to-back misses there. Can't afford that at this level.
Not in a winner-take-all game. Melissa Adams first stone. Lister and Bishop intend to watch it. Andrea Crawford coming in now.
It looks like a hack weight draw.
Yeah, a bit too heavy there. No harm, no foul. We just lost a couple of rocks each way. And that brings Jennifer Armstrong into the hack. Armstrong, 20 years a curler, out of the Thistle St. Andrews Curling Center, north end of St. John, chartered professional accountant and business analyst for JDI. Plenty of experience at the youth sports level too for the UNB Reds. Hard sweep here from Babin and forward, trying to get it onto the freeze. This is very close indeed. They do have shot stone. There looks to be about, what do you say, 4 inches of separation there, Kevin?
Yeah, so great shot there. Team Crawford still trying to generate their deuce.
Team Quillian content to try to force the blank.
Yeah, she wouldn't mind if all these rocks go away here, so.
Melissa Adams, 42 years old, a national operations specialist with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Now lives in Fredericton, but originally from Grand Falls. Canada Winter Games bronze medalist in 1995 will get the hit and lose the shooter to empty the field of play.
Yeah, and barring any open misses here, we should be looking at a blank end.
And Jennifer Armstrong looking. You think keep this ahead of the tee line, or?
Yes.
Sweepers just looking. Sylvie coming out. And will take it out of play. Playing a bit downhill this end, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that rock's slightly on a different path there, so it might be just a little different speed in that path. So the teams will have to keep an eye on that.
Sylvie Robichaud in the hack now as Melissa Adams is holding the broom. Sylvie, 29 years a curler from Curl Moncton. 3 times a provincial junior champion, 4 times a provincial Scotties champion, 3 of those as skip. Financial controller for Brona Transport Limited in Moncton. And this summer she got married to Jeremy Quillian, shedding the last name that's on that Scotties trophy a few times in New Brunswick, Robichaud. And her first shot of the end will take a nibble out of the 4-foot.
Yeah, putting that right in the 4-foot, try to make it a little harder for the Crawford team to hit and roll out on their last one and get to 4s.
And Andrea Crawford, I think, content to play for the blank if she has to.
Well, she's just going to try and hit and roll, puts us in a different spot of the ice, maybe out a little wider.
Andrea Crawford, 27 years a curler. Any championship she's been eligible to win in this province, she's likely won a couple of times, including 8 times these Scotties. An HR manager with the staff of non-public funds of the Canadian Forces out of CFB Gagetown. Hit and roll out. Andrea was out of the New Brunswick curling scene for a few years as she found herself working in Germany for the Canadian Forces. But she kept her game sharp, and last season, her first back in Canada, took a New Brunswick title.
Yeah, so a lot of ladies teams not too happy to see her come back, I guess, Sean, eh?
Perhaps.
So Sylvie's just going to try and make this go away.
She'd like to stick around, force Crawford to have to make a shot. Sylvie Quillian, cursory brush from Bishop. Just a clean. Hit and roll out, leaving the easiest shot in the books to blank the end for Andrea Crawford.
Yeah, just a throw through here. Now they're not going to just chuck this rock away. They're going to make a shot here and just learn something about the ice in this spot. So later in the game, might have to play a hit in this spot. I don't know what it's doing. So still go through the normal setup pre-shot routine.
Final shot, second end. Katie forward, just cleaning it down, making sure it doesn't pick. But it is going to be a blank end. In end number 2, Andrea Crawford retains the hammer, but Sylvie Quillian retains a 1-0 lead. You're watching the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts Championship game on 360 Live, powered by Bell Alliant TV1. John Thompson alongside Kevin Kyle. Team Crawford had the chance to rest last night. This is their first time back on the ice in more than 24 hours. Compare that to Team Quillian, who had to be out here last night, played a very tough and exciting 10-end game. Came down to the last rock. Team Quillian stealing the win. Do you think the rest or the having to play last night is making any difference here?
I don't think so. These teams are used to this situation. They've both been in it many times. And I don't think there's any real advantage one way or the other. The Crawford team, they did have time to practice this morning. There was a morning practice on this sheet, so they're ready to go, both teams. In fact, in the past, this field has been 8 teams, and they would have played more games. So, if anything, this championship is a little easier on them.
We'd be remiss at this time if we didn't mention the off-ice support of the two teams. For Team Crawford, in the head house is their coach, Darryl Nowlin, prepared to help them with strategy during timeouts. Hit and roll out from Katie forward there. And Team Quillian, as we see Kendra Lister coming back into the hack. She's curling at 88% through 2 ends. Team Quillian, as coach Sylvie's father, Ellery Robichaud, and their alternate, Jacqueline Tingley, in the head house today. It's a team that's stuck together for a few years, and that continuity may be helping them this weekend. Another rock center line. This time, Andrea choosing to ignore it, asking Katie forward to put up a corner guard. Katie 94% through 2 ends.
Yeah, so the Crawford team really hasn't put any pressure yet on Team Quillian. It's been pretty much Crawford um, chasing Quillian. So it's going to be important this end for Crawford team to turn that around, get something around that corner at some point, and start having the Quillian team come after them.
As a team, Team Quillian has been out shooting Team Crawford 80% to 72. We thank James Sinclair for providing the statistics for today's game.
Yeah, so Team Quillian's been dictating the play so far.
Looking to get a center guard here. Nicole Bishop doing well, trying to preserve her 94% shooting through two ends. There is some open space for Jill Babin to squeak through, get the hit and roll.
Yeah, and job one is just to tap this red rock off that 4 foot and expand the scoring area for Team Crawford.
That sweep from Jen Armstrong. Oh, now it's picked.
Yeah.
They're going to be all over the guard. They'll move the guard off center line. Won't come into the house. Certainly the sweepers weren't expecting that. Andrea wasn't.
Yeah, bad break there, and now that red stone chipped over is choking off the path around the corner.
And it gives Bishop a chance to replace the center guard. Put even more pressure on the Crawford team. Gentle clean here, making sure it doesn't pick anything up. Rock coming a little deeper than they would like. It's just on the fringe of the 12-foot, not quite in the house. They are lined up for a double, and I think that may be what Andrea's indicating.
Well, she's looking at a couple options. One is just a straight hit and roll off the top one. The other is the run back. So, yeah, she's going with the run back here. Yeah, I think she needs to get that rock off the 4 foot.
Jill Babin curling 56% through two ends. Still early days yet.
So Team Quillian still controlling the end. So this run back would change that around.
Well made.
Yeah, great shot.
Gets the double. Empty house. But Crawford has started to take control back of the end.
Yeah, so Team Quillian needs to make a good shot here. If they leave any type of opening, then Team Crawford will take over control of this end.
And Melissa Adams just asked to get rid of the center guard. A little wobble coming out of the hack. Bishop on it hard, trying to keep the line. We have seen rocks move as they cross the center line. They'll get the hit and a roll off to the wings. We'll take a look, but that looks just outside the house.
Right, now we can see that now that Crawford has control of the rings here. Now they make this around the corner. Two's back in play now.
Jen Armstrong curling 50% through two ends. As I said, still early. We have a small sample size.
Yeah, one of those shots was a pick, and
I was about to say.
And their score is 0, unfortunately, for the thrower, but Jen won't be too upset about that. She'll only worry about one stat at the end of the game.
Yeah, this rock needs to slow down, though. Speed is too high. Gentle brush to get it to finish. It is behind the tee line. Buried, but in a very usable position for Sylvie. Asking Melissa Adams to come down to it.
And really, though, this is the first time in the game where there's some pressure on Team Quillian to actually make their shot. And they make a mistake here. Crawford could bring 3 into play.
Adams curling at 63% through 2 ends. Her second of the end.
Be careful in this spot. It looked like she was a little tight, and that really come off hard here.
Hard sweep from Babin and forward. They're going to be all over the guard, it looks like. Can they open it up a little? Just a piece. Shot a bit light. It's still Andrea Crawford sitting 1. Bit more open than it was, and she's just picking something up off the ice. We have seen them go over this ice with the dry mop before the game. The ice is well prepared by the ice technicians, but sometimes you get that bit of lint on your sweaters, bit of rubber coming off the grippers.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sources of debris, so important to keep it clean.
Looking to draw behind the center, Jennifer Armstrong, second stone.
Yeah, I don't want to be deep here.
And now we're starting to see that cut again. We're starting to see that cut. Can the sweepers get it by the guard? Oh, what a sweep. Everybody's on it. Trying to get it to the house. I think they're full 12.
Yeah, so it's a good place for that. Team Crawford's line 2 now. And they now got some pressure going on here. The team's getting a little fooled by the break point. The break point is quite late here. So you could see Jen was actually calling the sweepers off and for line, and then that rock was diving right towards the guard.
And that's something we can watch throughout the game. Because the ice, it's not just an inert object here. It will change as the game develops, as the pebble wears down, even as temperatures fluctuate a degree or 2 here or there. Sylvie Quillian looking for the hit and roll. Her first stone in N3, up 1 with the Red Rocks.
Also,
just a clean so far.
throwing some firm weight here.
Through the hole without a problem. They're going to get the hit and roll out of the house. Still Crawford sitting 1 and still in prime position to pick up multiple points, assuming she makes her shots.
Yeah, so just looking at this out turn come around, that's probably the best opportunity to get into the rings. The way those other rocks are positioned, not a lot of easy draws here to get in with the amount of curl.
No. They're trying to get through a hole about 2 feet wide.
Yeah.
I tell you, it looks awfully small when you're in the hack.
And you have to be very careful not to be deep here. If this goes behind the tee line, then Sylvie Quillian's just going to follow that down and take the end away.
Andrea Crawford curling 88% through 2 ends. Again, small sample size, but she'll have to feel good about the way she herself has thrown so far.
She got this out just a little wide.
Babin and forward cleaning, off now. Asking the rock to dig in.
If it's going to go deep, you want to take it all the way back.
And are taking it all the way back. But it'll just set in the 8-foot. It's not even fully buried and presents a good opportunity for Sylvie to freeze to it.
Yeah, so she's saying they giddy up, and I'm just going to follow that down.
Sylvie Robichaud curling 75% through 2 ends. Holding an early 1-0 lead. A trophy and a set of tickets to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan and the National Scotties in February on the line. Second rock of the end for Sylvie Quillian. Sweeper's not touching it, it's staying out. Need to get by the corner
I
first.
think they actually need a little wick off that.
They aren't going to get it. Now it needs to dig in. But she'll throw it through.
Yeah.
Bad miss there from Sylvie Quillian.
So-
Opens the door up for a 3.
Yeah, so this is the first end where the Crawford rink has put any pressure on the Quillian team. And even though that rock wasn't in an ideal position behind the tee line, Sylvie was in a position she really need to make that shot. It was a do or die shot, or she was looking up at giving up 2 or 3. So it's really all about at least applying pressure to the opposition.
Yeah. And at the risk of sounding glib, the best way you can do that is to make your shots. This is the final stone of end number 3. Andrea Crawford with 2 in the rings, trying to get this one in the paint. Jill Babin and Katie forward on it pretty hard. Coming off now.
Yeah,
The target's 12 foot wide.
To get on that early just to make sure. The only thing that's going to hurt them is it's over curl. You got to believe that the weight was going to be good. So the only thing that's going to hurt you if that rock dug in and over curled. So get the brushers on it, keep her straight.
And it is a 3 spot for Andrea Crawford. She loses the hammer but takes the lead for the first time in this championship. 3-1, Crawford leads Quillian at the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts, coming to you from the Riverside Country Club in Rothsay, New Brunswick by 360 Live, powered by Bellline TV1. And our coverage today, again, brought to you by Kruger Products, makers of sponge towels, by Papa John's Pizza, by Sims Home Hardware, and by the province of New Brunswick. New Brunswick Curling thanks all our sponsors for their support.
And Sean, Bell Alliant TV customers can watch this game on TV1. So if you don't want to watch it on your computer, they can watch it on TV.
Yep.
The game did start 5 minutes early, so those folks that are watching on TV1, you would have joined the game a few minutes in progress. But you're caught up to all the action now.
And this game will be available to stream on demand at a later date. Certainly through YouTube, perhaps as well through the TV1 on-demand system, which you can access not just at home on your big screen, but also on your computer. Big 3 from Team Crawford. Sylvie Quillian has the hammer for the first time today. And we're going to see how she can play offense.
Yeah, so Team Crawford got the guard really tight to the house there. It's just outside the ring, so Team Quillian team not able to make a play on it.
Settles with a really tight corner guard themselves.
Yeah, right to the Scotties sign. Little close to the rings than they would like, but might be an opportunity later to chip that on for an extra point. So we shall see.
Katie Forward looking to make use of that center guard. Jill Babin and Jennifer Armstrong on the broom. Trying to add to the center guards.
You have two guards, one tight, one long, right on the center line.
Jill Babin will do a final coax towards the center line. And I think Quillian was initially thinking about a tick shot before thinking better of it. Looking to come behind the guards.
Yeah, so come down on the inside, on the intern side here. The guards are staggered.
Very aggressive play with Hammer. But Katie Forward, as we've seen all through this event, a very capable shot maker.
And you want to get there first, so can't peel the guards off yet. So just want to get to that 4 foot first.
If you're new to curling, thank you for watching our telecast today. This one's going to come up a bit short and end up as another corner guard. There is something called the free guard zone in curling, Kevin. Want to just explain that for the viewers at home who may be new to the game.
Yeah, so we play with the 5 rock rule, so you're not allowed to remove any rocks that are in the free guard zone, and to the basically the second stone of the team that has hammer is going to be the first person that's allowed to play a peel on a rock in the free guard zone, which is any rock above the tee line and not touching the rings.
And if you violate that rule,
the shooter comes off and all the rocks go back to their original position.
They're going to get a little raise with Jill Babin's first. Just into the rings behind a good amount of cover.
Yeah, so the Quillian team would try and come around, and with hammer you really don't want to be short and leave a guard. You'd be much better served with hammer if that rock would have been in the back 12. So the wall up there now for Team Crawford. This is an important end for Team Quillian to score, an even end, down 2.
And Nicole Bishop's shot. Jams the double takeout. Crawford stone rolls into the 8 foot. Quillian guard rolls into the 12.
Yeah, so much better situation now for Team Quillian.
Getting more of the guards off center, you mean?
Yeah, and that whole side's open up. The 4 foot's open to her now. A steal here by Team Crawford would give them control early here, so Team Quillian can't afford to let Team Crawford steal.
And Andrea just getting Jill Babin to pick off that red Quillian stone on the 12 foot. A very hard sweep from Forward and Armstrong. Trying to hold the line so they don't crash into their own. They will crash into their own. They'll roll off it behind their own guards.
So gets a great roll.
You're telling me. Fine roll. Sylvie considering the situation now.
So
one of those guards is her own corner.
Yeah, so that Crawford stone has really shrunk the scoring area, so gonna get rid of this guard.
Chance to open things back up.
Yeah.
Nicole Bishop second. Off and on with the broom. Ooh, just miss the raised takeout.
Right, and that red rock that they had to end up raising is a come-around attempt that they put there themselves. So that shot they were late on did come back to bite them.
And now another chance for Andrea Crawford, asking Jen Armstrong to get one behind the guards, a little higher this time.
Yeah, so can't go behind the tee line here. I want to make sure you stay above. So we've seen a little change here. So the last end and this end, it's Team Crawford being able to apply the pressure to the Quillian team. Force the opposition to make their shots, to make more difficult shots. So great location for that rock.
And Sylvie again looking to make a play on her own guard. Raise and take out something.
Yeah, even if they just get rid of this red stone up there, that guard is very, very high up there. It's not really usable.
What do you call the straight peel instead?
No, they've just played this shot, so, and it's a wide target there. You can make one of those yellow stones go away.
Working very hard, Bishop and Lister, to keep it on line. They'll just get the wrong side of it. Tough miss there from Melissa Adams. Does open up that side marginally. It's still a tight corner guard, but you can see more of the shot stone as Jennifer Armstrong gets down to put another one in behind. The mess up front, the two stones staggered, are your friend if you're Team Crawford.
Again, important to be higher, even if they're like 6 feet, 10 feet short, and leave a guard and block that whole outturned side.
Sweeper's not touching this.
Yeah, so Andrew's indicating looks like it's going to come back 8. So
starting to dig in now, and it'll come to rest right on the 4-foot, wide open though. Chance for Sylvie to get back into the end with a hit and roll.
Yeah, so it gives her an out. There wasn't a lot of places in the house where they could have put that stone, that unless it got full buried behind that top yellow. But important shot here.
Yes, indeed. Hard sweep now. Bishop and Lister trying to hold the line. Can't let it roll too much. Can't let it over-curl. And it did over-curl. It got rid of one, but Crawford is still sitting 2, 1 buried.
Looks like she still wants to come around. She could throw a guard here as well. Just try to make it very difficult for. So I think she might be a little worried that on the intern side there, Quillian can still get to the inside. I think on the intern side, the wide intern side.
It may come down to a question of, if you're Andrea, what shot do you want to leave Sylvie to throw?
Oh, exactly. So I think she's content to leave her that intern and just try to make the draw a little difficult.
I know back at the club, when I'm skipping, I like to say my job is to make it as hard as possible for the opposing skip to throw their rocks, and as easy as possible for me to throw mine. Very selfish view of skipping, I know, but this will come into the paint.
It's going to bounce off her own.
And roll just nibbling like a mouse at the forefoot. But Sylvie, still thinking a hit and roll here, could give her the big trees this end. There is a double there.
Not a lot of room to roll there to be shot. So that is a precise shot. And so Team Crawford's been doing a great job of making things a little difficult here for the Quillian team, these last two ends.
And we have seen that the Quillian team can run hot and cold at times. Last night they had that big run at the start of the semifinal, jumping out to a 6-2 lead. Gave it back and then some, down 7-6 before coming back to win. And this will just hit the outside and roll into the open.
Yeah, so with that extra weight and just that other side of that center line, that ran really straight. So all the sweepers could do was just watch that.
Andrea Crawford coming back, looking at a hit to, if nothing else, take away multiple points. Keep the lead going into 4. Rollover would be a bonus.
Yeah, if she just a short little roll towards the center blocks off that whole forefoot and makes the draw difficult for Team Quillian. So she doesn't need to roll too far here.
Andrea Crawford's second rock of the 4th end. Sweep now from Babin. They want the inside roll forward now. They'll just nose it. And now draw to the forefoot for Sylvie.
Yeah, so relatively easy draw here to the forefoot now. It's pretty wide port. So you expect your skip to make these shots. So the mindset is that if you can give your skip the forefoot, it'll be made.
And you know, with the experience she has, she'll be ignoring the fact that she's shooting against 3. That's something curlers, perhaps, without the experience Sylvie has, would have front of mind.
Yeah, and the key on this shot will be the sweepers judging the weight. Make sure the line shouldn't come into play here.
Final rock, 4th end. Cole Bishop, Kendra Lister. On it and off. On it and off.
Yeah, so the sweepers like it.
Just need a piece of the 4. And they have got that and more. A cool draw to the button for a point for Sylvie Quillian. But it's Andrea Crawford who retains the 3-2 lead and takes the hammer into the 5th end. You're watching the championship game of the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Brought to you by 360 Live, powered by Bell Alliant. Sean Thompson in the broadcast position alongside Kevin Kyle. We've got a 3-2 game now. Crawford back with the hammer in the lead.
Yeah, so Team Crawford's controlled the last 2 ends. Making Sylvie make those high pressure shots. And you want to just keep doing that, and at some point the opposition might not make that big shot. So
well, that was certainly the case in the 3rd, where Sylvie was heavy with her final draw and left Andrea with a a draw to the paint for 3.
Yeah, so we'll see if Team Quillian can change the momentum here and get Team Crawford chasing them throughout the end.
They will get the 5th end break after this end, giving Ellery Robichaud for Team Quillian, Daryl Nowlin for Team Crawford a chance to come out, talk to their teams, discuss what worked, what didn't, try to get them in the right set of mind for the second half of the game.
Yeah, two very experienced coaches. A lot of provincial and national coaching experience there.
Daryl Nowlin, second tournament we've mentioned his name this season. He was coaching his son's team to a runner-up finish at the Papa John's Under-21s last month at Thistle St. Andrews St. John. The champions of that event on the men's side, Felipe Marine's team, didn't quite have the performance they wanted out in Langley, BC at the Canadian Juniors. Finished in the seeding pool, but represented the province well. Also representing the province well, Melody Forsyth's-Rink from Curl Moncton, the Under-21 girls champion, who lost a tough tie-break game yesterday afternoon to Team Alberta, but a 4th place finish, nothing to feel sad about. Congratulations again to our 2 junior champions from New Brunswick, and best of luck next season. They're both eligible for the Under-21s again.
Yeah, despite the junior boys' record, they were competitive in every game they were in, and they could have very easily have been 6-0 instead of 0-6. So,
and it shows the depth in junior curling across the country too. That result. Katie Forward now with her second, trying to pick off that Quillian rock in the house. And we'll get a little rollover past the center line in the open. Haven't seen Crawford go for the guards this end. That's something she's usually been quite diligent about with Hammer so far in this contest.
yeah, she's playing a little conservative this end. She wouldn't mind getting the blank here and bringing the hammer into the even end.
Hard sweep here from Adams. Off now. Line looks good. Just a finish from Lister to get the roll over. Team's just looking at perhaps a bit of debris on the ice.
Yeah, so not sure where that debris is coming from, but somebody must be shutting something out there.
Jill Babin trying for the hit. Keeping the end pretty open. Hard sweep there. And a roll well behind the center guard. Fine roll there. Good shot from Jill Babin. Good control from Jennifer Armstrong and Katie Forward on the brooms.
Yeah, great roll there. So now Sylvie's going to have to try and run this rock.
Nicole Bishop curling 84% through 4 ends. Against Jill Babin's 69. Off, and they will get a piece of it to open up the front. Andre Crawford looking to get some separation between a pair of stones in the house.
Yeah, just going to split the rings here.
The percentages through four ends nearly as close as the score. Andrea Crawford's team collectively shooting 78%. Sylvie Quillian's rank 75. Just a gentle clean now. This is coming deep. Sylvie out to help it through. And it will just hang on in the back of the 12-foot.
Yeah, just a biter back there.
That could be all you need.
So we'll try and roll over in that direction, so to try and set up some type of jam.
Melissa Adams curling 59% through four ends. We saw her win the battle at mate last night against Erica Clough of Team Como. Hit and stick. Just off nose, a chance for Team Crawford to hit it out and stick around. Keep lying the two on Jen Armstrong's first.
And I think the key in this game is it's going to come down to the two big shot makers here, and that's the skips of each team here. Two experienced veterans, great shot makers, so I think one of them is going to be called on to make a great shot to win this thing, and I think that'll be the difference in this game.
Nose hit there. Crawford again sitting two. Sylvie Quillian comes out and sees the lay of the land.
Yeah, trying to get the double, take the deuce out of play here. With three rocks to come here for the opposition, she needs to it's going to have to make a double here somewhere to prevent the deuce.
Assuming, of course, Team Crawford makes all their shots.
Yeah, and she has to play her strategy as if the opposition was going to make their shots.
This is going to be close. They'll get the hit and just roll by. Still, we're seeing that high stone move further and further up the rings. Jen Armstrong settles in for her second.
Yes,
Quieter weight here. Forward on it straight away. Jill Babin having a look.
Nice control weight there from Jen.
Hit and a little dink roll. Crawford sitting two. And another takeout opportunity for Sylvie Quillian. And you mentioned the shot makers. We compare the skip percentages. Andrea Crawford at 88% through four ends, leading Sylvie Quillian 69. A lot of that can come down to that big third end. A Quillian miss, leaving Crawford with an easy draw for three.
So Team Crawford still in control here. They won't be too upset if this double's made, because then that'll bring the blank into play, and she'll go to the sixth end with hammer up one, which is a control situation.
Bishop and Lister trying to keep line. A hit and roll over to the wing. New section of ice to try the hit.
It looks like she's going to take the in turn. There's a tricky little spot here. There's a lot of curl from the inside out.
Always. Andrea taking the in turn more of a comfort thing.
Yeah, like I said, they've had lots of practice on this ice, so they should be familiar with the turn and the weight they want to throw here. So I would expect this to be a firm weight.
Key thing is, after you've made contact with the Quillian rock, keep the shooter around.
Again, if they roll out, still probably a blank situation, so not critical. So Katie forward will probably be next to the rock here and try to keep this thing from overcurling, but
Babin sweeping now.
no,
Gotta get to the stone first.
looks like she got that a little wide there at the start. And it's going to peel
And
off her own.
oh my. I think that may be the first serious error we've seen from Andrea Crawford today. And an opportunity for Sylvie to split the house and force Crawford to take one. Melissa Adams holding the broom. Kendra Lister on your left. Nicole Bishop on your right. Sylvie Quillian dead center with her second stone of the fifth end.
Yeah, a chance now for Team Quillian to make Team Crawford look at 2 on their last draw.
Sweepers not much to do but collect their steps. Andrea Crawford coming up in the foreground, ready to sweep this through if she has to, and no need. Rock will settle with a piece of the back 8-foot. Quillian sitting 2 as Andrea and Jennifer Armstrong discuss the final stone. And she's going to play the hit.
Yeah, she's going to play the hit and stick on this one.
Nose hit will get the single. Katie forward on your left. Joe Babin on your right. Andrea Crawford in hack. Hit against 2 for a single point. With the final rock in end number 5. That's forward. Cleaning so far, now on it hard. On it hard, gotta keep the line. Was there any doubt?
Yeah, so a great bounce back shot there for Andrea after that flash on her first one. So she feels a little better about that shot. Missed opportunity, so they'll be a little disappointed with that.
And the single point for Andrea Crawford gives her a 4-2 lead over Sylvie Quillian going into the 5th end break of this championship game. We'll take it along with you. I'm Sean Thompson alongside Kevin Kyle. You're watching the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts on 360 Live, powered by Bellline TV1. We'll be back in a few. Good afternoon once again. Welcome back to the Riverside Golf and Country Club by the shores of the Kennebecases in Rothsay, New Brunswick. The 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts Championship is approaching a climax. The championship game here about to start the sixth end with the defending champion, Andrea Crawford's rink, from the Gage Golf and Country Club in Oromocto, holding a 4-2 lead on the 2018 champions, Sylvie Quillian's rink from Curl Moncton. And Kevin, what do you think the coaches would be telling their teams during that fifth end break? Let's start with Ellery Robichaud and Team Quillian.
I would just tell them that I think I talked to both coaches before the game, and these teams have been together a long time. They've had a long season. They worked hard, and they're just telling them to stay focused. I don't think a whole lot of talk about strategy. They know what they want to do. Certainly not bringing up any of the bad misses that happened in the first half. So just being encouraging, and if there was anything you saw that they thought they should improve on, we'll talk about that.
How about Daryl Nolan for Team Crawford?
I think you tell them you got control of the game. Just stay focused, and they got this. They have the lead, and don't need to be too aggressive.
At stake this afternoon, New Brunswick Championship, those beautiful Scotties Hearts emblematic, the perpetual glass trophy, and a group ticket to the Scotties Tournament of Hearts, the National Ladies Championship, at Mosaic Place in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, starting February 15th through to the 23rd. That'll be airing in its entirety on TSN. In other provincial championship action in other provinces, if you want to know who else may be joining the winners here in Moose Jaw, the Nova Scotia Championship, Marianne Arsenault put up 2 points in the first end, take the early lead on Colleen Jones. Former teammates and national champions going at it. In Alberta, they're in the semifinal. Rock leading Hilker 5-1 through 7 ends. And in the Quebec Scotties, through 8 ends, Rowe leads St. George in a barn burner 2-1. And this Kendra Lister Rock will come close to being shot stone, Kevin.
Yeah, so we're getting into it here early in the sixth end. This is an important end for both teams. Crawford does have the lead here, and Quillian can't afford to give up a steal here.
Jill Babbins first, looking to pick off that Quillian rock. Hit and rolled to the edge of the 12. 5 rocks thrown. Sylvie knows she can peel, start to open up the center.
Yeah, she's got a corner guard there, and doesn't really like that Crawford stone sitting top 8 foot, so she needs to get a shot at that. But with the corner guard sitting there, she's going to have an opportunity to get multiple points.
Nicole Bishop's first. Sweeper's not touching it because there's no need to touch it. Perfect peel. Opens things up. And I think Andrea looking to pick off the corner guard.
Yeah, well, the corner guard is the only way that the Quillian team is going to get a multiple point end. barring any open misses, which I wouldn't expect. So it looks like they've gone back and they're going to throw the guard instead.
The open misses, they are rare, but we've seen one apiece from each skip today. That said, it's not something you want to see a championship decided on, and this is curling sharply. This is nowhere near the corner. It's more of a center guard.
Yeah, that's what she had changed it up and went to the center guard.
Just over curled a little.
And it's really high, so I would have liked that a little closer. So gives Sylvie an opportunity to play a little hit and roll behind the corner.
Nicole Bishop lining up. This is the one that counts. Sweeper's not touching this. Lister and Adams content just to escort it. How much of a piece do you have of it? About half. Shooter will roll out. Crawford still sitting one. And Andrea asking Jen Armstrong to bury her first.
Yeah, she just wants to, just going to come into the top 8 foot. Make it a little difficult for Quillian to get to. That guard being so high, they can't afford to come much deeper. If it came to the tee line, Team Quillian could hit that rock with either turn.
Jen Armstrong's first.
And this is all about keeping the play to the middle and not allowing Team Quillian to have a free pass to draw around the corner.
Forward and Babin waiting for the curl. Now it's starting to come. Too little, too late. They're half open with a bite of the 4.
Yeah, so just a quiet weight shot here. You can get the hit and get the roll. Might even be an opportunity to get to the inside of this.
I think even if you can get the roll behind your own corner, that's to your advantage. First stone for Melissa Adams. Make sure you're by the guard first. Plenty of space. Hit and the roll behind the corner. Now it's Team Quillian sitting one.
Yeah, so Team Crawford gave them 2 cracks at that, and they weren't going to miss it twice.
No, indeed. Andrea considering what to get Jen to throw next.
So it does look like it's accessible on the out turn, but it'd be very, very difficult shot threading between those stones.
Especially with that turn, you'd be looking, what, maybe a rock and a half of clearance?
Yeah, no, really tight. So it looks like they're looking at maybe trying to draw, which is getting a little difficult with that really high guard.
Looking to tuck it behind the Quillian corner. Maybe get a little freeze on shot stone.
Yeah,
Jennifer Armstrong's second rock. Mate of Team Crawford. Lots of communication between front end and skip. They want this rock to curl. They're going to get shot stone, but pretty exposed on the inside.
It's a difficult shot to remove. It looks like she can get to the nose of it. Just.
I think she's looking.
She's worried about the jam there. They might actually.
Understandably. Melissa Adams coming down to have a talk. I also think they may be looking at the raise. Raising the corner guard up to whack it out on the outside, but they're settling on the quiet weight hit.
If you tried to raise, then there'd be no guard there, and there'd be a double opportunity for Crawford. You get this in here in line 2, you're well positioned for your deuce. She's not crazy. I think Quillian's not crazy about being forced here.
Not down 2. Melissa Adams' second rock, N6. It's a hard sweep from Babin and forward. Sorry, from Bishop and Lister. Gotta get the angle just right. Don't want to jam. Don't want to jam. Oh, what a rock. What a rock and what a sweep from Nicole Bishop and Kendra Lister. And Quillian is sitting 2 once again.
Yeah, so Andrew, looking at how much of this rock is visible from the other end. Get a quarter or half a rock and maybe make the double.
There is, I think, about a quarter or third of the rock visible on the inside.
Yeah, so they're going to take a shot at it.
I suppose if it does overcurl, collects the corner guard, you're forcing Team Quillian to spend a rock to replace that as opposed to putting another rock in the house, applying more pressure.
Yeah, so great job here. Team Quillian come out here in the 6th end after the last 2 or 3 ends. Team Crawford was dictating the play. So Melissa Adams making a couple great shots here in this end to set this situation up.
First skip stone of the 6th end. Hard sweep, trying to avoid the jam. Babin, they get the hit. They do jam a little. They get rid of 1 red. But it is a second Quillian red sitting shot stone. And now Sylvie with the opportunity to split the house.
Yeah, so she's going to just come into the rings behind that, that yellow guard.
And where shot stone is, it's pretty inaccessible. So assuming she makes this rock, she should have a far easier time to points this end as opposed to point. Sylvie Quillian. Her first rock of end number 6. Don't think you want to come too deep here.
No, you don't want to make the decision easy for Team Crawford. You throw this perfect, and you might make Crawford play to concede the 2, not risk giving up the 3.
Bishop and Lister will drag this well into the 12-foot, but it is pretty open.
Yeah, so there's a double opportunity here.
Hit and roll over. Andrea could end up sitting 2, but she wants to get rid of this top Quillian stone first, then see where the roll takes her.
Yeah, so with this ice here, She's thrown good weight. She's taken a shot at the double.
And as Katie Ford, Jill Babin, ready to give it their all with the broom. Jen Armstrong holding the target. Second stone for Andrea Crawford, 2005 National Junior Champion. Sweepers not touching it. They get the hit, they get the double! And roll out. Cleans up nicely, leaving Sylvie playing for the blank.
Yeah, great shot there. So Sylvie coming up a little short on that draw and leaving that opportunity.
And fine execution. It was all the shooter there.
Yeah, I think we'll see that throughout this game. Where one skip, if they leave any type of opening for the opposing skip, they'll take advantage.
Sylvie Quillian with the final rock in 6. Looking for the blank, and this is a harder sweep from Bishop and Lister. They want to roll out, but they'll just about nose it, and they'll roll over for a single point. They get the point on the board, but lose the hammer, Kevin.
That's not a bad situation. Some teams might in that situation might even play to take the one. Down 2, playing the odd end. If you got forced, then the other team's going to have control in the 8th end. So now she can. She gets the force back, and then she'll have control back in the 8th end, which should be critical.
And after 6 ends, it is Andrea Crawford with a 4-3 lead on Sylvie Quillian. Crawford with the hammer in this championship game of the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Coming to you live from the Riverside Golf and Country Club, Rothsay, New Brunswick, by 360 Live. Powered by Bell Light TV 1. Sean Thompson again alongside Kevin Kyle. Again, we'd like to thank Curling New Brunswick sponsors for their support of this event and the entire NBCA calendar. We thank Kruger Products, maker of cashmere bathroom tissue. We thank Papa John's Pizza, Sims Home Hardware, and the province of New Brunswick. Thank you all for your support.
And we should thank these all the players this week that put on a great show. It's been great curling all weekend.
Yeah, we'll just do a quick reset of the tournament. 6-team round robin, headed by Andrea Crawford with a 5-0 record. Second place, Justine Como's rink from the Capital Winter Club Fredericton. They came in 4-1. Sylvie Quillian from Curl Moncton finished 3-2. The final playoff position. Sarah Millay, 3-time runner-up, fell just short of the playoff round, 2-3. She's from Curl Moncton. Sharon Levesque also coming up a little short this time around, 1-4 the record. And the new team on the block, Karen Cousins rink from the Thistle St. Andrews Curling Club, left the event with an 0-5 record, but they were in just about every game they were in against a team not named Crawford.
Yeah.
Then in yesterday's semifinal, it was Quillian stealing the win after an impressive Justine Como fight back from 6-2 down to 7-6 ahead. Quillian taking that semifinal 8-7. A game that went the distance. Which brings us to our championship game today. Crawford 4, Quillian 3 through 6.
So Crawford up here, up one with hammer, playing this odd end. Quite content to just blank this end up.
Keeping things very open. I expect we won't see too much aggressive play, too much beyond hits, or a simple draw into the house unless we get a bad miss from one side or the other.
Yeah, and I think the Quillian team wouldn't be too upset with a blank here as well, and try for that steal in 8. So that eighth end will be the critical scoring end.
Kendra Bishop hit and roll onto the rings again, providing kind of a different spot on the ice for Lil Babin to try this hit. Babin curling 75% through 6 ends against Nicole Bishop's 83%. We neglected to mention the lead percentages. For Team Quillian, Kendra Lister is at 90. Katie Forward for Team Crawford at 88%. Pretty well tied. And the team percentages through 6 ends, about as close as you can get. 80% for Team Crawford. Sylvie Quillian with Nicole Bishop coming out of the hack at 79%. Difference of 1 point in the percentages, 1 point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and this game is it's coming down to the skippers. 2 veteran skips, a lot of experience, able to make the big shots in the big moment, and that's the way it's shaping up, as we would expect.
And I'd say within 90 minutes, we can guarantee between these 2 skips, they will have their names on the Scotties Tournament of Hearts trophy as New Brunswick champion skip for the 12th time between them. Crawford has 8, Quillian has 3 as skip, and of course, one of them has to win today.
Yeah, regardless of who wins, we're going to be well represented at the National Scotties.
Shaping up to be a strong field. Even at this point, the wild card game is kind of a known conclusion. The top 3 teams in the rankings are all from Manitoba. Only one of them can win the darn championship in the Keystone Province.
Yeah, and those wild card teams coming in with virtue of their points they effectively are professional teams. That's all they do is curl.
Jen Armstrong curling at 77%. Her counterpart Melissa Adams at 71%. Six teams are already confirmed for Moose Jaw. The defending champion curling as Team Canada is Chelsea Carey's team from the Glencoe Club in Calgary. The territorial representatives were determined at the start of the month. Carrie Galusha returning for her 17th appearance for the Northwest Territories out of Yellowknife. Lori Eddy from Iqaluit will be donning the gold and red of Team Nunavut. And Haley Burney from the Whitehorse Curling Club will be putting on the purple for the Yukon Territory. And here in Atlantic Canada, a couple of weekends ago, Suzanne Burt once again claimed the Prince Edward Island Scotties Championship. She's out of the Montague Curling Club this season. And I believe a first-time champion team from Newfoundland and Labrador, Erica Curtis's rink from the St. John's Curling Club. They got that championship in 2 weekends ago before The Great Storm hit. Hit and roll out here.
Yeah, we've got quite a storm brewing here between these two teams. On this end here, they're just shaping up to be a blank end, and then we're gonna see them really get into it in the 8th end, I believe.
Yep. Bit of a phony war here. Sylvie Quillian coming down. It is Crawford winning the battle of the skips. Crawford out-curling Quillian 81% to 73. But both have had the odd missed shot that their counterpart has more than taken advantage of. Quillian's first. Crawford with the hammer.
Just gonna throw this in the center of the rings, make it a little harder for the rollout when it gets to Andrea's last shot.
Bishop and Lister working hard to get it to the rings. And they'll put it right on the button.
Yeah, good opportunity there too for Sylvie Quillian to get her draw weight down. So we have one skip throwing draws and the other one throwing hits.
Andrea Crawford just coming back here, ready to deliver her first with hammer. 4-3 lead, throwing yellow stones. The calm before the storm. Solid hit there. We now have a champion out of Quebec. Noémie Verosrink from Chicoutimi has claimed the Quebec title with a 3-1 win over Laurie Saint Georges. Congratulations, félicitations à l'équipe Vero, to the Verosrink, and best of luck at Nationals, unless, of course, you're going against Team New Brunswick. Final two from the Alberta semifinal. Kelsey Rock taking an 8-1 lead over 8-1 win over Krista Hilliker. Rock from Edmonton, Hilliker from St. Albert. Rock will be playing Laura Walker in this evening's championship game. Hit and roll out for Quillian will give Andrea Crawford the chance to blank. And in Nova Scotia, Marianne Arsenault through 4 ends has a 4-1 lead on Colleen Jones for the right to wear the blue shirt in Nova Scotia in Moose Jaw. Andrea Crawford back now, just trying to see how the rock goes with weight on this portion of the ice. The easiest shot in the books. A throw through with the final rock in end number 7. Gentle sweep from Jill Babin, making sure it doesn't pick. To confirm the blank.
Yeah, so Team Crawford have the hammer up 1, playing the 8th end. So that's a control situation for Team Crawford. So we'll see Team Quillian here try for the steal.
And Team Crawford with the hammer and 8. If you are assuming the team with the hammer scores when they have the hammer and no blanks or steals are involved, you've got Crawford with the hammer and 8, Quillian taking it back in 9. Crawford's thinking, hey, I should be able to get this back coming home in the 10th end.
Yeah, exactly. So advantage Team Crawford at the moment, and we've seen how quickly that can change. So important for for Kendra to make both these shots here.
Kendra Lister looking for the center guard here. Playing the 8th and now championship game of the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts from the Riverside Golf and Country Club, Rothsay, New Brunswick. Alongside Kevin Kyle, I'm Sean Thompson, bringing you all the action this afternoon. The trophy is out on the ice, so are the patches, so are the runner-up candy dishes, so are the roses. And in an hour or less, we'll be presenting them to their owners, their new owners. Kate forwards first. Coming a little deep, it's getting into the house, this one.
Yeah, so that slides to the back 8 there, Sean, behind the tee line.
Give Team Quillian a bit of backing if they need it.
So Quillian coming in just top 4. Trying to get behind this guard.
Kendra Lister's second. Not much from the sweepers so far on this. Adams and Bishop. Content to watch. Little heavy. No, right on the nose. Well buried, not quite frozen, but practically.
But behind the tee line, so Team Crawford not too worried about that.
Having a chance to follow it down and playing the yellow rocks. This is Katie forwards second.
Yes, get this one turned in just a little bit.
Sweepers working hard to keep it from hitting the guard.
So I'd like to split it. I could split the guards here. That would be a good setup.
Well, they have split it. Does marginally open up that side. The left-hand side on your picture. And gives Quillian a chance to think about what she needs to do. Both teams doing well for their thinking time. Neither team has used a timeout. And Sylvie looking to bring a rock into the house on or near the center line. And trying to get behind the Crawford center guard.
Well, so they know this path. They just played this shot.
Nicole Bishop's first, and it's a hard sweep from Les Adams and Kendra Lister. Hard sweep indeed, trying to keep it from wrecking on the center guard. All in vain.
Well, that opens up the middle, Sean. Now I've got 2 corner guard situations here.
2 corner guard situations. A chance to make a play, too, on the shot Quillian Stone. Try to jostle it off the backing.
Yeah, she's going to release this one. This one's biting the forefoot, so anything she put behind a corner would be out counted by this red stone. So by releasing this up, later on I have an opportunity to remove that stone and get some ones out in the 12-foot to count.
Jill Babins first. Get rid of the backing. Shooter rolls over behind a corner. Quillian still sitting 1, but having to guard.
So now there's a lonely red rock in there that can be removed easily.
Protection, the name of the game for Nicole Bishop's second stone. Giving a bit more of a berth for ice this time.
Yeah, so Team Quillian wants to get a center guard here and hopefully get an opportunity to sink one around above the tee line.
Barely a broom on it. Melissa Adams now lifts her in to help it finish. And it'll just get onto the center line. But I think shot stone is still practically fully open. Andrea looking at doing some house cleaning. Or some front of house cleaning. But deciding ultimately to come through that port. About a, what do you say, 1.5 port there?
Yeah, about that, Sean. So lots of room.
And of course, if you're inside or out, you have a chance to open up the front a bit more.
So again, she's trying to make the scoring area a little bigger here.
Jennifer Armstrong's first.
And if this sticks around, we're going to have 2 Crawford stones in the
Jennifer
back.
Armstrong is sweeping. 2 Crawford stones in the back, yeah. Hard sweep from Armstrong to keep the line on Jill Babin's second. Hit, not much of a roll.
Yeah, would have liked to rolled away there, not leave the coin an opportunity to come down to this.
She can just about follow it down. Melissa Adams first.
Yeah, so she'll try to be above the tee line, and if it slides back, it's not the end of the world, but we'll try to be above the tee line here, and then the Crawford team will have to deal with the guard.
Melissa Adams, third stones and mate of Team Quillian.
Melissa's made a lot of big shots this game.
Hard work from Lister and Bishop trying to get it past the guard. No such luck, and that opens up the center. I'm not sure I like the initial call, Kevin. I thought the line looked a bit tight trying to come through that port.
Well, it was a race to get in there. She needed to be in there first. It was a good opportunity to set up the steal. Still not a bad situation for the Quillian team.
Yep, so. And Team Crawford has just called timeout to consider their situation. That'll bring Daryl Nolan out for Team Crawford. And Ellery Robichaud will have a chance to discuss things with Team Quillian.
Yeah, they're a little worried about that yellow-red race that that Team Quillian has.
I think they're worried about any of the red raises.
Well, the red rays, the yellow-red rays would be an opportunity for the shooter to roll towards center and punch the red undercover. Any play on the reds on the other side would result in, on the right-hand side as we're looking at it, would still be wide open. So there's lots of red. Outside, very far outside, red on the left could also be raised undercover, which would be trouble.
It looks like Jennifer Armstrong is suggesting ticking off the open red guard on the right-hand side, and rolling behind that cluster on the left.
Yeah, and that not only that would block that raise, you could block that raise, and it also opens up the whole front of the ring so that you could hit the forefoot on in turn or out turn. So right now, probably that red rock on the right is the trouble rock, the one that Andrew has her broom on. And it's making it very difficult for the Crawford team to put a rock in a good position.
Crawford are sitting 2, but they're in the back of the house. Armstrong looking to open things up and put a counting stone ahead of the tee.
Yeah, so it's just soft control weight here to get that short roll, block that raise, and open up the front.
Jennifer Armstrong's first.
So get that started just a little bit wide.
Trying to encourage it as Katie forward. Get the hit, but roll out. The guard will roll out of the paint as well. That does open up the front.
Close there, just hair wide and hair heavy.
That old Curling Canada commercial. Curling is, they say football's a game of inches. I wish we had inches in curling.
Yeah.
And Quillian looking for Melissa Adams to do something on that shot stone. She's trying to figure out what.
Yeah, first indication, hit and roll, and then be on top of the other yellow and take that out of play in terms of its ability to be a counter.
Second stone for Melissa Adams.
She needs to stick around here, or Team Crawford's going to make use of the corners.
Hard sweep, trying to keep the line. They'll hit and roll behind cover, not on top of the Crawford stone, but well buried.
Yeah, so now Crawford, advantage Crawford here now to sink a couple around these corners. So the 2 is certainly in play here for Crawford. No center guards.
No center guards. The house in front of the tee line is empty. Only a couple of rocks to provide backing behind. Jennifer Armstrong second. Kate forward on it hard from the word go. Jill Babin joins.
Yeah. Key shot here in the 8th end. As we said, this is the control end, so a well-placed stone here will really set up the deuce.
They're trying to force the curl on it. Trying to get it behind some cover.
Yeah, great weight. They just didn't get the finish.
Bit of a blank look.
It does set up the jam. So if Sylvie hits what she can see, it will jam back on that Quillian stone.
They're having a look. They'd like to get to the outside of the Crawford rock.
She might lose her back one, but she's okay with that.
Sylvie and Melissa lining things up. The ice given looks like it's going to be a softer weight hit.
Oh yeah, she's just gonna try and come down and get a little bit to the inside of it, so come very close to that red guard.
So much riding on Nicole Bishop and Kendra Lister. Sylvie will be leaving it on their capable brooms. First skip stone, 8th end. New Brunswick Scotties Championship game. There's the sweep, there's the curl. Got to get by the guards. Waved off. Sweepers waved off. They want a good roll. They do jam their own, but they get both rocks out. There is the shooter that rolled wide open. They didn't quite get the roll they would have liked. Andrea Crawford thinking for her first how she wants to play this.
Yep, so she can hit and get the roll.
That is the decision.
So we're going to roll to the right-hand side and then take that. Don't want to risk jamming.
Jen Armstrong holding the broom. Setting the target.
Don't want to roll too far and leave Quillian the draw to come down and be shot stone buried.
Just need to roll about 4 feet.
That'd be ideal.
Hard sweep here from forward. Babin looking on. Babin on it now. They'll get the hit. And they will roll too far. Good try from Armstrong, but it is out of the paint. Shooter out of play. Sorry, the target stone out of play. Crawford sitting 1. Quillian with a chance to bury. And it looks like she's going to try the draw with the backing. Pros and cons of this shot relative to drawing behind the cluster above the tee line.
Oh, this one here, she has the backing over here, and I think there's more finish on this side. We've seen a few draw attempts on that intern coming around that the rock didn't really finish hard. So best chance to bury is around this side. And you also have the other yellow stone at the back here, so take away the blank opportunity that because it could set up a jam.
Sylvie Quillian's second stone in number 8.
She really doesn't want to leave Andrea a hit. She wants to. It's been some time since Andrea's thrown a draw, so try to force Andrea to make that draw to get to 1.
Hard sweep from Bishop and Lister. They're by the guard. Are they going to get right back to it? You know, I think that's a good corner freeze.
Yeah, so it takes the deuce out of play.
And leaves a cold draw for 1.
So Andrew's going to take the in-turn here. Thought she might just follow her down.
Of course, you don't have the backing on this shot.
And when it comes to the backing as a thrower, you want to be thinking tee line. The backing is there really, the sweepers are the ones that should be thinking about the backing, that if they think it's really close to tee line and they know it can be a couple of feet heavy, then they know they can sweep and not worried about it being an oversweep.
Final rock, 8th end. Hard sweep. Babin and forward. Need full 8 foot. And they are going to get it without a problem.
Yeah, right to the button.
A single point for Andrea Crawford in the 8th end. improves her lead to 5-3 over Sylvie Quillian. We are 2 ends away, perhaps, from determining the New Brunswick Scotties champions. You are watching the championship game of the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts, live on 360 Live, powered by Bellline TV1, and brought to you by Kruger Products, makers of Scotties facial tissue, by Papa John's Pizza, by Sims Home Hardware, and by the province of New Brunswick. 5-3 the score. We're going there and back again for regulation play at least.
So advantage Team Crawford.
Give up the hammer this end. Katie forward curling 84% through 8 ends. She's been remarkably consistent all game. Percentages have hovered near that mark, I think, since the first end. And she'll put this right on top of the forefoot. Sylvie trying to manufacture some points, asking Kendra Lister for the corner guard. Kendra also playing very consistent. She's at 89%. That's roughly where she's been all game. Hard sweep here required from Nicole Bishop and Melissa Adams, though. Get it in play and get it the ideal distance from the house.
Yeah, Sylvie Quillian will be quite content to get 2 here and take her chances to get a steal.
And the team percentages through 8 ends are the exact same they were as through 6. 80% for Team Crawford, 79% for Team Quillian. Reflective in part, I think, of that 7th end, a lot of hits, the blank end, very quick end, and a lot of fairly easy shots to make. Center guard goes up for Team Crawford. Playing the Yellowstones, they do leave things open for Sylvie to try the hit. Kendra Lister's second.
Yeah, just backline wait here. They can get to the inside of this.
Hard sweep now from Adams and Bishop. Coming off. How much room do they have on the guard? Plenty.
So trying to carve that in a little bit.
But they'll get just about nose. Little roll to the outside. This can leave an open hit for Drill Babin. Crawford up 2 without the hammer, 2 to play. Sweepers off. They'd like this to curl, get just a bit of a dink roll inside. They'll get just a bit of a dink roll outside.
Yeah, and they're okay with that.
They are in a good position, Team Crawford, as you mentioned. Even if they give up a couple, they have the hammer coming home.
Yeah, I think Sylvie Quillian would be happy to take 2 and would like her, would be happy with her chances to steal. And I think Andrew would be equally happy with hammer coming home and her ability to get her one.
First shot for Nicole Bishop, curling 78% through 8 ends. Jill Babin, her counterpart, curling 80% at second for Team Crawford. A good hit and roll, not quite behind the corner, on the tee line.
Yeah, so there's room to get through the port and make that hit.
You could even get that nice little roll behind your center guard if you play your cards right. That's the call from Andrea Crawford. Let's see if Jill Babin can deliver.
So even if they get the hit and roll out here, Quillian team, really all they have is to come around the center, and the play's going to be to the middle. And so Team Crawford will be able to limit the scoring to 1.
Sweeping off and on, trying to get that last bit of carve. They will hit and roll out. Open house, center guard for Crawford, corner guard for Quillian.
Well, so the play's coming to the center now, which Team Crawford will be happy with, which they'll be able to shrink the scoring area and reduce the chances for a multiple point end for Team Quillian.
Yeah. There's often the debate if it's a 1-point game going into the last end, would you like to be down 1 with the hammer or up 1 without? Well, either position is trumped by being up 1 with the hammer.
No, I think both these teams, both these skips are so experienced and so confident that they'd be happy with either situation. They'll take the situation that presents itself.
Bishop's Rock finishes up nicely. Sits 1, it is behind tee. Jen Armstrong being asked to come down to it.
Yeah, they thought about the hit and roll, but that would still allow Quillian to get 2. So they're going to try and put the force into play right now. Freeze down to this.
Sweepers off and on as the rock starts to dig in and curl. And they have the freeze right on the button.
Yeah, great shot there from...
I can't tell who's sitting, but suffice it to say there isn't a whole lot of room to get another rock in there.
It looks like red is shot. So Team Quillian, which is okay with Team Crawford. If they can limit Team Quillian to 1 point, come home 1 up with hammer.
The mate position between the two teams, dead even. Melissa Adams, 75%. Jennifer Armstrong, 75%.
Yeah, both mates have they've made the key shots when they've counted, and certainly that was one there by Jen Armstrong.
They have had the odd miss as well, but they've put together remarkably consistent games.
So Team Quillian just trying to jiggle these rocks around and get a better situation. A nice looking shot there from Melissa Adams.
They will break up the freeze, but they will leave Crawford as shot stone behind the center guard. There is the chance for that corner raise, though, which means Crawford can't feel entirely secure about where the rocks are placed, which is why I think she's asking Jen Armstrong to put up the guard.
Yeah, they're just coming into the top 12 foot. Try to block off that easy red-yellow tap.
Babin and forward, off and on. Trying to hold line as much as anything. It is starting to go.
A little strong, a little deeper than they wanted.
Ends up a freeze onto the yellow. Doesn't quite take away the angle for the red-yellow tap, though. It just becomes a yellow-red-yellow tap. But Sylvie Quillian will call her team's first time out of the game. Bring Melissa Adams in the front end down. Bring Ellery Robichaud out. You think the yellow-red-yellow taps there?
From our vantage point, it looks yes. It looks like there's a chance for her to make the tap and for Quillian to lie too. But she would be hitting that yellow rock on the outside, and I think that would leave Andrea an opportunity to come down and blast it. So have to be careful here. So they still have a meat rock left. So there's so Sylvia has 3 rocks left, but they have to deal with that yellow rock in the button area right now. It's going to be very, very difficult to score 2 with that rock sitting there.
They are talking about the risks and pitfalls of the triple tap as their time expires.
So even if they just make a soft shot here, backline weight, move these rocks around, and have an opportunity to bring one of those reds in to be a second counter.
Both teams with 1 timeout left.
The button area is open on the in turn and the out turn, so Sylvie will have an opportunity on her last to get in there.
Right now it's Melissa Adams back for her second.
Yeah, so with that ice, looks like they're just playing like a back line to hack weight. I think she'd like to keep those red rocks around and make one of those Yellowstones could be a catcher at the back.
Hard sweep from Lister and Bishop. Got to get by that guard first. Got to get by the center guard. Oh, just papers it. And rolls harmlessly away.
Had an opportunity to just throw a guard up here now, and Quillian's going to be forced to make a run.
Really apply the pressure here.
Yeah, so Jen's indicating just outside the rings. So Team Quillian would have been better off if they hit more of that guard and just peeled it out of there, but they got an unfortunate break where they just skinnied by it, left it in place, and rolled away and didn't jiggle those rocks.
The worst of all possible worlds. Andrea Crawford throwing what today has been a rare guard for her. Not that it's hurt her percentages. 81% through 8 ends, Andrea Crawford. Her first stone in 9. Hard sweep straight away from Babin and forward. Just trying to coax it over. Get the protection. And I think they've just about done it. You can't fit a rock through that port.
Yeah, ball plays guard.
And this leaves Sylvie
Well, they're going to try and come through that port.
I think they're trying to maybe double peel. Try to kill both guards. Or else knock them both out and try to wiggle through. This is Sylvie's first. Goal to make it easier for her second.
Yeah, so I think she's trying to go through that port, and plan B will be to peel off that center guard.
Quillian's curling 75% through 8 ends. That's one. Moves the second a bit and rolls under and out.
So there was room to get through there.
I still don't think there was. I think that hole was an inch or two too small. Either way, they didn't get much of a roll on the center yellow. So Andrea Crawford now has a chance to replace a guard.
Yeah, and Sylvie just may be left with that play on that angle on the corner red. I don't know that she could make that for 3, but there is a chance that she could make that run for 2. I think that yellow rock would catch the red rock behind the tee line. We don't have overhead here, so it's hard for us to tell what the angles are.
Crawford's second rock, Babbitt forward. Marching it forward, trying to
This might
line it up
overcurl.
well. It mostly guards. There's the little sliver on the outside. And that's what Sylvie's looking at.
We talked earlier about these skips being able to make the big shots and not afraid to call them. A lot of experience, a lot of confidence.
None bigger here. The broom is down. They're looking to raise the center guard up and get a lot of movement on those stones clustered around the 4-foot area. This could be the shot of the game for Sylvie Quillian.
Yeah, and this was all set up by that great freeze by Jen Armstrong.
Last rock, 9th end. Bishop on it, now Lister. They need the angles right. Have a look at this. No. Goes harmlessly by, and it's a steal of 1. Steal of 1 for Andrea Crawford. She'll come home in the 10th with a 6-3 lead. You're watching the championship game of the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts on 360 Live, powered by Bellaline TV 1.
So Quillian will retain the hammer, will be down 3.
Jen Armstrong holding the broom here. I think this is the ultimate defensive shot here. No, doesn't look like a throw through. Just going to be a draw into the paint.
Yeah, just going to come top 4 here. So Andrea Crawford just taking a little break there. She'll be back shortly.
It's only in the lead up to these season of champion events, like the Scotties, the Tankard, and the Juniors, that curlers will play the full 10 ends nowadays. Most matches are 8. These 10-end matches are a real test of the curler's skill, stamina, and mental fortitude. Also, apparently, a test of the commentator's stamina, too.
Yeah, so Team Quillian's a corner, so they'll be throwing 2 corners this end. Must score 3.
3 to tie. Crawford content just to pile on the pressure.
Yeah, some teams would throw this second one through. The extra rock here in the house isn't really going to help, and Sylvie could make use of it.
Comes right down, bumps the first stone onto the fringe of the 4-foot, and Sylvie signaling to Kendra for a second corner.
To put this level with the other one, not leave any type of double peel opportunity.
We'll see Team Quillian starting to play into the house on her next. Taking advantage as much as possible of this 5-rock rule.
So 2 great shots there out of Kendra to get this end set up.
Battle at lead. Lister out curling forward 90% to 85. In reality, though, 2 leads near the very top of their game.
So Andrea talking about bringing another one into the fray, into the rings.
I don't know if Jill Babin is fully comfortable about that. She's back in the hat.
No, the team's not. Good discussion, though, to make sure they're all on the same page.
They do have plenty of time. They had 6 minutes left of thinking time coming into this end, in addition to the second timeout they have in hand. And the event we go into an extra end, the time clocks are wiped clean, reset to 4.5 minutes. Timeouts do not carry over, but each team will get a fresh one for the extra frame. This one coming in a little hot. Just get a little rub. Katie Forward will rub it.
Yeah, lots of rocks here for Team Quillian to work with here. They can push rocks back. They could play a free. They could also just move some rocks to the back 12 here.
And they need to move some of those rocks to get access to the 4-foot.
Yeah, and there's lots of time left to do that.
This is Nicole Bishop's first. She and Jill Babin are practically tied in terms of percentage through 9. 79 for Babin, 78 for Bishop. Really, that's the difference between a 3 and a 4 on one shot and one end. Otherwise, they've been match perfect.
So now 1 yellow rock behind the tee line. So there's 1 catcher back there now.
The last stone delivered by Team Quillian is a sitting duck to take out if that's what Crawford decides to do. That's what she's looking at. Hit and roll over.
Yeah, and maybe get rid of that yellow stone that's on the far left. If all those yellow stones had been in there, she probably would have been more tempted to just step up and peel off one of those guards. But she realizes that those yellow stones can be used just as much as the corners can be, so start counting rocks and making wide open rocks go away.
Quillian Babin.
Well, there we go, another one
Makes
behind the
hit
tee line.
effectively. There's the risk there.
Yeah, you're up 3 and 6 rocks have been thrown, and only one of them's out of play.
Now this is kind of a tricky shot here. They're trying to, Team Quillian, sit on that Yellowstone back of the 4-foot, but they need to get by the Yellowstone biting the top of the 4-foot first and not over curl. Sweepers but spectators. It's coming in nicely. We'll get the bump. It is Quillian sitting 1. With the 2 corners preserved. A lot of yellow granite in the rings. That is not to the yellow team's advantage. Team Crawford about to throw another Yellowstone. Very rare we can say that in a curling match.
Yeah, it might be an opportunity now to peel off that corner card. The one on the right-hand side here is the one that's making it difficult to get rid of this red rock that's back there. So even if Sylvie plays the draw on the other side or freezes to another stone, you'll have an open hit on this one.
And it is the peel the call. Jen Armstrong's first. Easy peasy. The third position has also been very close between the 2 teams. Jen Armstrong for Team Crawford curling at 76%. Wes Adams, Team Quillian at 72%.
So Quillian does call the freeze on that Yellowstone and just behind the tee line.
Team Quillian need 3 points to tie. Forward and Babin. Mostly looking as their counterparts, Bishop and Lister. Get the little tick.
Oh, so I think Jen Armstrong might be licking her chops right now. Get all these red rocks moving and some of these yellows.
And right now, just doing a quick count back there, Team Quillian has 3 rocks left in play, so being able to kill 2 reds with 1 stone would really ratchet the pressure up on Team Quillian. Bill Babin going back after a little discussion. Jennifer Armstrong in the hack.
So Andrea wants to make a play on this red one to get rid of the yellow one behind the tee line. So just trying to get rid of this one red stone and the catcher behind it.
On the red, won't get the catcher though. But will sort of block the path directly to the catcher. You can get behind that Yellowstone, but you can't get straight onto the backing.
And Sylvia's still going to try to use that Yellowstone as protection.
She has 1 rock in the house, 1 guard. 3 rocks to come, needing 3 to tie. Wes Adams second. Lister and Bishop.
So I want to be careful not to leave it where there's going to be a double. So Andrew at some point is going to want to slash that yellow onto the red.
Coming in a little deep. Comes behind T, but grabs enough of the button to sit one, but you're seeing Crawford gesture toward that slash double.
Yeah, I don't know if the double's there. They'd have to get some around the house action. I don't think that's there, but she gets it thin.
The big
so almost like a nose off that yellow, I guess, to try to get them both.
The big difference this game has been at the skip position. Andrea Crawford curling 82% through 8 ends. Steadily improved through the contest. Sylvie Quillian at 69%.
Yeah, so just a hair off nose on the broom side. Drive this yellow stone off one red stone, then onto the other.
First skip stone for Andre Crawford. Sweeper's not touching it. At the one, get them all, and that's the Scotties! A double takeout for the win! What a shot from Andrea Crawford! We won't need to throw the last 3 stones. The final score of the championship game. Andrea Crawford's ring from the Gage Golf and Curling Club 6. Sylvie Quillian of Curl Moncton 3. And for the second straight year, as we see the handshakes between Sylvie and Team Crawford, and the jumping up and down from Team Crawford, the embrace of the twice New Brunswick champions. In a couple of moments, we'll have the presentations. There's Daryl Nowlin out getting the hugs from the team. It's been a tricky season in parts for Team Crawford. They did change coaches early in the year. They suffered an upset loss in the warm-up spiel in Moncton 2 weeks ago. But here at Riverside, they were the team of the week. 5-0 and 6-3 winners in the championship. What do you think of that, Kevin?
Great game. Both skips lived up to the top billing, and that we expected that this game was going to come down to a big shot in the end, and it certainly did. And as we said, regardless of who was going to win, we were going to have a great representative going to nationals. And yeah, so great to see, and hope Team New Brunswick does very well at nationals.
Conversely, how must Team Quillian be feeling? They've had their ups and downs this event, ups and downs in this game. I always say losing feels worse than winning feels good.
Yeah, all these teams, with all the success they've had a lot of experience losing games as well. So, yeah, initially it's going to hurt, but it won't take long for them to start thinking about next year.
And of course, some of these curlers on both teams will have other competitions to think about. There's the Provincial Mixed Championship later in the year. I think everybody on Team Quillian has had plenty of experience on that. Sylvie herself has represented the province on 3 occasions in that national championship.
So we're going to bring you the presentation ceremony here on Live 360.
They're just lining up That's the event chair, Gail Saman, along with the New Brunswick Curling Association South Zone representative, Stephen Thompson.
No relation, Sean?
My father. Just preparing for the ceremony. We'll see if we can pick up any of the audio. And we can't. Can't quite hear anything. Gail congratulating both teams on an event well played. We've seen some very dramatic action this weekend. Teams will have about 3 weeks to prepare for Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Gail thanking all the teams who took part, 6 teams in this year's championship. Apologies for the sound difficulties. Are doing our best to describe what's happening. Congratulating and wishing good luck to Team Crawford. Now Team New Brunswick. First, the thanks to the committee and the officials who have done a bang-up job this weekend, putting together another well-run championship. It's always a pleasure to come to Riverside every couple or 3 years for a provincial tournament.
Also, a big thank you to our chief umpire, Lawrence Forbes. Lawrence was here the whole 4 days, and watching out for everybody, and it was a really, this was one of the smoothest.
And we apologize again for the sound difficulties since I appear to be getting my own voice in my ear.
Thank you. I want to thank our film crew from 360 Live up in the booth, down at the ground.
And thanks to the broadcasters, our entire team. I'll give our thanks to our entire crew in a moment.
Without them, we could never put on events like this. We have a great crew of people that always step up to help. They're getting really proficient at timing and scoreboarding and everything else, so we really do thank them. And I just want to have a special thanks to Wally Peacock as well. He's like my right-hand man. He put up all this stuff. He's going to take it all down. So he's my right-hand man. I want to thank Curling New Brunswick for their support. And Mark Miranda, the executive director of Curling New Brunswick, is here today. So we thank her. And also, of course, the Riverside Bar and food staff. A big thank you to Cindy and Tracy, who have also been here boarding tonight throughout these 4 days.
Stephen Thompson.
Maybe it's time. You guys just want to go home now, is that it? Yeah, that's pretty much for everybody, I think. Anyway, we'll start with the runner-up team. Of course, always there's 2 teams out there in that final, and both of them want to win. And sadly, only one can win. Anyway, so from Curl Mountain, we'll start with the alternate, Jacqueline Tingley.
The runners-up prizes.
There.
Team Quillian.
You all can give the presents. That sounds fair.
Alternate Jacqueline Tingley. Lead Kendra Lister.
Good job. Next is the second Nicole Bishop.
Second, Nicole Bishop.
Mate is Melissa Adams.
Third, Melissa Adams.
And the skip is Sylvie Quillian.
And the skip, Sylvie Quillian from Pearl
Coached by
Moncton.
Ellery Robichaud. Sylvie, did you want to say a word or two? And Ellery can come up here too, yes. Yeah, it's quite all right.
Just like to thank everybody. The event was great.
Thank you very much. All right. Now we can go home? So, great week, ladies. It's been a long season, a lot of work to get here, but you've made it. So we'll start out with the lead, Katie Forward. Second, Jillian Babin, whose mother I talked to by Facebook on Friday. Yes, as I was doing broadcast. Meet Jennifer Armstrong from the host player. And skip winner still champion Andrea Crawford. They are coached by Daryl Bell. I've got pictures happening here, I hope so. There you go. No flowers for you, Daryl, sorry. Now, did someone want to say a word or two? I think Andrea.
Gail did make it easy for me because I can say ditto to everything that Gail said in terms of thank yous. But congratulations to Team Quillian. That was a really well played game. I want to thank the host committee for a fantastic event. The ice was also really great, so thanks to everybody who helped out with that as well. I want to thank all of our sponsors that have helped us, get to this point, I guess, and further. And big thank you to my team. You guys are the best. It made my job easy. And thank you, Daryl, for coming on board this season and just being a huge supporter of us and helping us get where we are now as well. Look forward to representing New Brunswick in Moose Jaw.
Okay, good luck, girls. The Moose Jaw representing us for the 2020 Scotties Tournament of Oh, goodness. Wait, let's try that. So now, congratulations to Team Crawford for winning the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Good luck and Moose Jaw. All right, congratulations. We'll get a good picture of all of you in a few seconds. Okay, so safe travels home, everyone, and thank you to all our spectators, family, friends. Safe travels home.
Okay. We're back in the booth, and Kevin Kyle, it has been a fantastic week of curling here in Riverside. Care to sum up the entire week of curling for us?
I guess the best way to sum it up was just great curling, great shot making. Thanks to the great ice conditions here, the teams were able to put on a show. And I really look forward to watching this team at the Scotties, and hope they do really well.
Is it too early to make a prediction of how well they might do? I mean, we don't even know who they're going to be curling against in group play.
I think it's too early to make that prediction, but they'll certainly be competitive, so no one's going to be able to take them lightly. So I wish them all the best.
Andrea Crawford making her 9th appearance, looking to get back to the playoffs for the first time since her return from Germany. As the Katie Forward poses with the trophy down there. If I could have your indulgence for a few minutes, I'd like to turn our attention to the team from 360 Live who have worked hard this weekend and all season to bring you top-notch competitive curling here in New Brunswick. Commentary this weekend courtesy of Kevin Kyle, Terry Roach, Bob Sherrod, Sean Thompson, Stephen Thompson, and Jason Vaughn. Our statisticians were Mike Martin, Adib Saman, and James Sinclair. Production staff from 360 Live: Scott White, Chris White, Lauren Webster, and Chubba Demokas. And the executive producer for 360 Live is Brian Fisher. We'd like to say special thanks to the host committee here at the Riverside Golf and Country Club, chaired by Gail Saman. Special thanks, too, to the on-ice officials, led by Lawrence Forbes. Promotional consideration from Kruger Products Limited, makers of Scotties, cashmere, and sponge towels, from Papa John's Pizza, with locations throughout New Brunswick, Sims Home Hardware in Fredericton, and the province of New Brunswick. Special acknowledgement, too, of the New Brunswick Curling Association, President Marg Miranda. Our next telecast of Championship Curling from New Brunswick on 360 Live and Bellline TV begins Wednesday at 1 p.m. from the Capital Winter Club in Fredericton. Our friends in Fredericton will be with you for all the hits, draws, spills, and excitement of the 2020 New Brunswick Tankard, the Men's Curling Championship, and there will be some fine curling up there next weekend, I can assure you. Team Crawford will be seen next, February 15th through the 23rd in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, the 2020 Scotties Tournament of Hearts, wearing the gold and black of Team New Brunswick. You can catch action from that event on TSN, the various TSN stations. Check your local listings as we get closer to the date. I can guarantee you New Brunswick will be featured in one game, at least. So for now, for my colleague Kevin Kyle, for Mike Martin, who is doing the stats for us this afternoon, and our entire crew in Rothsay, I'm Sean Thompson. Team Andrea Crawford is Team New Brunswick once again after winning the 2020 New Brunswick Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Have a good afternoon.